Today we're going to be cooking up something really special. I am part of a collaboration called Make It March. If you watched me in January, then you know I did some canning of Mandarin oranges. And now I'm going to show you all a recipe idea of what you can do with this. Lisa Suttons is our host of this fantastic collaboration. So how this works is every day of the week, there are different collaborators that are going to be posting videos. My day is Monday, so Make It March Monday. You can look forward to every Monday this month getting a new recipe from me. There will be a playlist with everyone's videos, and at the very end, there will be a giveaway where Lisa is giving away a canner. Can you believe it? Another canner. I'm so excited for all of you, and I'm excited for myself to get to watch all these great videos from these amazing content creators. So without further ado, let's get busy making Mandarin Orange French Toast Bake. And just so you know, I actually did not mean to coordinate my shirt color with our meal today, but hey, if it just so happens to work, it does. Make sure you start with clean hands, and I love my apron, so we'll put on my apron and we'll get started. I'll zoom you in so you can see exactly what I'm doing. I had all intentions to make my own baguette bread, but the other day I was at the store and saw this on discount and thought to myself, well, this is going to save me a little time and it's pretty cheap. So I got it. The recipe of which I'm getting inspiration from, I'll make sure to link below. And they suggest, I'm just going to go ahead and cut this heel off because I know we won't use the whole pan. We're going to be using this loaf pan, which I need to spray. If you have butter or Crisco, you most certainly could use that too. I'm just going to spray that really good because I have it available to me. And I'm probably going to cut this end off about here. Okay. So maybe 3/4 of an inch slices. I like a thicker slice. I don't want to do it too thin. I find that a bread knife works really well so that you do not squish your breads. And we still may not end up using all of this. So I'll start with taking this bit here in the middle, see where we get. You don't want to squish it too tight. I think we can get one more of these slices in here. We want it to be able to open up and soak this up well. So I think we'll stop there. These will make for something later. Right now my chickens aren't laying a huge abundance of eggs, so I'm going through freeze-dried eggs at this time. So what I did is I took 3 of the scoops, equal amounts water, and I've got my freeze-dried eggs rehydrating. I'm going to go ahead and beat them up a little bit with my hand beater. It really does help get more of the texture that I desire. So get 3 eggs and beat them. Unpasteurized honey is the best. And what I happen to have here is from a local beekeeper, but it had crystallized on me, so I put it in some hot water to bring it back to the consistency we like. To our eggs, we're going to add 3.5 tablespoons of honey. What I have today is a cinnamon honey from a local beekeeper. And because this honey was kind of crystallized, I'm going to go ahead and whip it up in here with the eggs a little bit. I'm going to also need about a half a cup of milk, and that's just what I have left in this jar. Use cream if you're feeling extra. Give this a quick whisk. We need about 1/3 cup of orange juice, and I just happen to have a jar of the oranges we did together, and I think that there's going to be about 1/3 cup in this jar. Yep, sure do. So this goes in there. Put the lid back on this and put it in the fridge, and we'll save it for later. I happen to have some fresh Mandarin oranges, and we're going to zest this. We need about a tablespoon. This is a fun little gadget that I got years ago from Pampered Chef. I'm sure they probably still have something like this. I'm making big strokes, but you could also, if you'd like just little bits, you can make tiny ones. Just depends on your personal way of liking things. You can also take the tool and make huge fat strips like you would for, say, marmalade. I'm sure we've got our tablespoon of zest. Of course my orange was washed first. What do you think I am? Splash of vanilla. We don't measure that at all around here. And then they suggest putting in a half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, but I'm not going to do that because we use the cinnamon honey. Now I'll just mix this up. And I'm just going to kind of pour over the top. And every once in a while, I'll just kind of open that up. We're wanting to get this to soak in down the sides. Don't pour too fast. Just kind of move it around. Kind of like when you make garlic bread, you know. Just put a little of that garlic butter in between each one. Okay, now that that's had a chance to soak up a little bit, we can put a little more on the top and move that around. And I'm just going to keep doing this until I've used up all my mixture. And then I'm going to give it a good squish to try to encourage it to soak up all that deliciousness. And now all you need to do is cover this up and put this in the refrigerator. They suggest putting it in overnight, but we're having breakfast for dinner tonight. So it's morning time, and by evening, this will have soaked up all that sauce. All right, friends, it has been at least 10 hours since we put our casserole together. I've got it here. I'm going to leave the foil on. I'm going to put it in the oven, and then I'm going to turn the oven on to 350 degrees. And I'm going to let it preheat while I have the cold dish in there so that we don't have shock, and it'll slowly get to temperature. And then once we reach 350, we're going to go ahead and bake this for probably about 30 minutes with the foil off. And now that we have that in the oven, we are going to make a special sauce to go on top of our French toast bake. First thing we're going to do is we get ourselves a small saucepan. Remember that zester? We're going to use that again. And I definitely want to use small strokes on the top, because this is going to be our topping. I don't mind the bigger pieces inside the casserole, but I definitely want the smaller bits on the outside. And we want about, a half a tablespoon, which is a teaspoon and a half. I think this one orange will be enough. If you're anything like me as a pantry cook, you just kind of wing it. I'm one of those cooks that takes measurements as a guide. And that's our zest. So next, we're going to make some Mandarin orange juice. I've got this juicer. I'm just going to take this and cut it in half. And we're going to take a couple of these. And we're going to get, we need, let's see. We need about 5 ounces or close to a half a cup. So I'm not sure. We'll see how many of these it takes. We have the 2 oranges, that we've now gotten the zest off of. Let's see what we get with that. These are nice big ones. So it just kind of depends on the orange. These are super juicy. Sometimes it just depends on the orange, on how much you're gonna get. I think I'll go ahead and take one more smaller one here and see if I can't get another ounce. Now this doesn't have to be wasted. My animals, especially the chickens, but the guineas and all the other birds will enjoy this as a treat. You don't want to give a lot of citrus to your birds, but an occasional treat is totally fine. Perfect. We are at 5 ounces. And I need to turn this to the strain so that we don't get any of the pulp in there. We're going to add this right into our saucepan. And actually, we're just going to do it that way. To this, we need to go ahead and add 1.5 tablespoons of this amazing honey. And then we also need 2 tablespoons of water. And we'll take this over to the stove and let it simmer and thicken. The lighting over here is unfortunate. My above the microwave light went out, so it is not the best, but we're gonna make it through. I've got myself a plastic whisk, and I just want to stir this every once in a while. We're gonna let it boil and simmer, maybe like 10 minutes. You have to be really careful and be super diligent with the high sugar content of the honey and of the juice. It really wants to boil over. So I find myself, even at a number 2 on the stove, I cannot walk away. We need to now put this in a more pourable container. You can see it definitely thickened up and the color has certainly changed. And we're just going to put this aside to cool while our casserole is in the oven. I really wish there was smell-o-vision. This smells so good. And it's still soft, but the outside got crunchy. Oh, I'm so excited about this. Let's serve this up. We're going to start with a couple of these. Then we'll get out our oranges. Remember those, we canned those together. And we're going to put a generous amount of those on there. Then we're going to drizzle on our syrup. Whip topping, because why not? And just a sprinkling of cinnamon. I've got some sausage patties. These are homemade. If you want to know how to do that, I do have a video. And just because we can, we're going to have some juice. This is my home canned cran apple grape. Meet you at the table for a taste test. Favorite part, taste test time. Look at that though. Let's just take a minute to look at how gorgeous this is. It smells so good. All right. I don't know if you could hear that crunch. Put a little whipped topping on there. I've got one of our Mandarin oranges that we canned together. I just can't. This is so good. And guys, you saw just how easy it was to put together. Definitely a company-worthy recipe. I hope you guys try it. And when you do, let me know. Oh, hey, better try that juice too. Tasty. As a no-waste kitchen, I find unique ways to use every little bit. How about taking the leftover fruit from your juice and make a pancake, put it in a custard, some homemade bread? I'm just so glad that we could spend some time together today. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.